Professor Zakari, Professor Yusuf, Ghazali as a strategy, and who again? Baba Musa Bungudu. And we chipped in something about the reports. The executive governor expressed interest to dust up the reports and then see what he can consider in it. I think maybe it's because of lack of follow-up. That was why we couldn't revisit that discussion we had. But now that we have the Commissioner of Education here, the Chair UBEC, and Prof. Yusuf, I trust that we are going to do justice to that important report. So maybe comments on the report now can be maybe step aside and we focus on other issues. While we invite Dr. Mika'ilu to respond to some comments, we to unmute Professor Aminu Bayawa as the next contributor. Dr. Mika'ilu, are you unmuted?
Yes.
Yes,
okay.
Jalaluddeen.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to come up again with some remarks that I'll quickly provide. I think one of the veins of teacher capacity issue is the balance between theoretical aspects of pedagogy and the practical ones. In our training institutions, you see a lot of emphasis on theory, and you don't see much of practice. And in our interventions, this is what we have actually worked to change. On that note, I would like to mention what one of the contributors just said about Haske program and Rana. I'm so pleased. You know, it's just like your child. People don't know that it's your child and just call you and say, oh, this is really a good boy. Who is his father? And for me, that is the case with Haske, because I was really privileged not only to contribute to the development of the content and putting in place the training, but in giving it the name Haske. So I actually provided the name, and I was at the center of the development of the content. And as someone who taught in College of Education and working in the university, I can see that we are missing a lot in terms of interface between theory and practice. One of the colleagues from the US, Dr. Abdullahi, mentioned that, and that's the reality. We worked in partnership with the headquarters of FHI 360, and we balance this theory and practice thing. And this is something that we really need to see in teacher training, in-service and pre-service part of it. And Haske and Rana are really examples of good models in that regard. I tried not to speak so much on that, but I can't run away from it when somebody really mentioned and provided the testimony. Finally, we have an important resource to move forward, and that is the kind of political will that I've seen now and before in my engagement with the state in its present leadership. The commissioner has demonstrated that, and before then, when our technical advisor came from the US in February and went on the tour of all the states. I wish I was on that tour. I couldn't really join him because of so many engagements. But I learned about how well he was received. His name is Brian Dooley, and the commissioner may remember, in the office of the commissioner and in the office of the chairman of SUBEB. When I referred Life Builders Initiative to Zamfara, this is one person that builds schools that accommodate a child at 30,000 naira a year, but getting the best education you can think about. When I referred that person, he approached me and said he wanted an inroad in Zamfara. I referred him. He told me how well he was received by the chair of SUBEB and his directors. So this kind of political will to make the change, and I want to believe that is a product of the overall ecosystem. Already, I also have started some dialogue, courtesy of this call with the chair SUBEB, in addition to the invitation extended by the Commissioner of Education. These are really great resources that we can utilize to move forward. In addition, of course, to all the other resource persons, Professor Yusuf Adamu has seen a lot, And much as we said that the issue of the report should not be discussed again, we should know that it has authors, it has architects. Professor Muazu was the chair of our Zamfara Central Committee for Assessing Secondary School Education, and had seen 5 years ago or more, I think, all that the commissioner had mentioned about science, about WAT, because we visited all the schools. So these are all resources to really leverage. This is an important word, leveraging. We can leverage a lot of resources. Somebody talked about funding. Funding is really an issue, but you can have several ways around funding when you leverage. When you leverage technical assistance, when you leverage in terms of getting strategy for funding, there are a lot of other ways. But certainly this is not something we can resolve in 1, 2, 3 years. But the commitment and the kind of political will in place is really so impressive that I feel, as my last take, I have to commend that, and we will utilize it to the best of our ability to ensure that the children in the first stage happen to be different in years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful responses, Dr. Mika'ilu. While we take a comment from Professor Aminu Bayawa, we prepare to unmute. I have been seeing a hand up here, the legacy. Is that Dahiru Sumail of Standard Voice? Yeah. So after Prof. Aminu Bayawa, we take a comment from the legacy.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam, Prof.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
First of all, I would like to thank you for allowing me onto this platform, even though I am not formally from Zamfara State. I have to say I have learned a lot, but then since Shata said Jika Mujaddadi Aurum Matasha, I think I deserve to be also from Zamfara by the virtue of my wife being from, my first wife being from Zamfara State.
Yeah, but not for by inclination then.
Yes, I'm also from Zamfara. I also haven't finished my primary and started my secondary school in Safi before I moved to JSS Koko. Anyway, thank you very much.
From Zamfara. A lot of us, you've mentored us, so we have given you an honorary citizenship.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you very much. I think the panelists have said it all. And I am particularly moved by submissions of Professor Saifi, that really there is nothing that is not known with respect to the problems, and also nothing not known with respect to the solutions. The solutions are very much well known, and the problems are also very much well known. The problem is the implementation and the resources needed to implement a viable solution to the problem we are having in education. Not only in Zamfara and across the states. Funds are needed. The bottom line is funds are needed, and a lot of funds are needed. And there must be the political will to provide those resources, particularly funds to provide the infrastructure, to train the teachers, to provide the teaching materials. If those funds are not provided, there is nothing you can do in changing the situation. But then even if the funds are provided, we also need to, we need people of integrity that can actually implement, use those resources in order to implement all the plans that have been put in place to change the very bad situation we find ourselves today in with respect to our education. So the government has to actually engage people of proven integrity, and not only knowledge, proven integrity to make the implementation. I'll share with you, because the problem is, I am the chairman of a local government education authority. In Kebbi State, what His Excellency did was to appoint some professors and from the university to chair the various local government education authorities, and also to help put in place district education committees that have been assigned certain responsibilities as provided for in the law of universal basic education. Also to give us sort of a lot of leverage in saying that we can go and do the work we are supposed to do without any political influence. Because the problem is this politics, even when you go to primary schools, they are there. You cannot appoint the right headmaster because the qualified one that's supposed to be appointed probably has been associated with another political party, and then the unqualified one is the one that who is associated with the winning party will now be appointed, and then so that goes up to supervisors, to education secretaries, and it puts everything up in mess. So when Professor Afe said politics must be removed from education as well as security and other things, I completely agree with him. Without that, there is nothing we can do to change the situation. The government must be willing to actually remove politics, political influences in the appointments, in the recruitments, in the training. Even in the trainings, you can imagine politics do come, because the teacher that is supposed to be taken and sent to training may not, because maybe he is associated with one political party or the other, he will not be allowed to go for that training, and all sorts of things. So I will advise that the Zamfara maybe should, I'm not saying what the Kebi is doing is the best thing, but it's something to start with. Let Zamfara State also engage people of proven integrity, not only at higher places where they are commissioners or what have you, but even at lower places like local government education authority, where they can actually give inputs. We have some of our district education committees. We have people that are senior lecturers, even readers, that are members of those district education authority, and so they have the respect of the ES and the teachers and what have you, and they go on to do their work and to ensure that things are done properly. I don't want to take a lot of your time, but I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity. I have learned a lot. I have taken a lot of notes, and I think that will help me a lot in doing what I'm supposed to do in my local government education authority. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. I think we're not going to spend the whole day on this platform. After the comments from the legacy, we will take 5 more comments or questions, then we conclude. So
the legacy is unmuted.
Okay, the legacy.
Unmuted.
Okay, unmuted, right?
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I want to start by commending the Zamfara cycle and all the participants of this very great program, or I can say discussion. I only want to emphasize on the issue raised by the Vice Chancellor of the Zamfara State University, Talata. They are waiting the approval of His Excellency. That issue should be pushed by the stakeholders, especially as the Vice Chancellor mentioned that MRM is making a very good impact. And I want to make an emphasis on that trend of replacement of teachers at the tertiary institution, as alleged by the professor, that the Honourable Commissioner should take note. That
I think you have a poor connection, the legacy.
Okay.
A serious interruption.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, but with some interruptions. Yeah.
I want to first of all commend the Zamfara cycle.
We have had that. We just want you to give us a summary of your comments. We have had your commendation of ZC.
Yeah. I want to emphasize on the issue raised by the Vice Chancellor of the Zamfara State University, Talata Mafara, that there are some pending memos that are awaiting the attention of His Excellency, the Executive Governor, for approval that will enhance their capability and their total commitment of making sure that the university has reached the dream. And the other issue raised by the same person is that
I think we have lost the legacy.
An alleged acts of bad trend of representing the state where his ministry were mentioned. The Honourable Commissioner need to take very serious issue about the issue, and he should act accordingly, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the legacy. We really appreciate, and we hope to see this event on your TV show at the Standard Voice. Now we invite, I have been seeing this hand, Abubakar. Yep. And then please, after Kasim, we'll take a response from Haji Binta. Kasim. Okay, so unmute Kasim, then you unmute, Haji Binta.
Okay.
For a response. Kasim is still mute. Okay, he's unmuted. Kasim.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Good afternoon, all. I must say thank you to the organizers of this very important event and to those that have contributed. Well, I have about one or two questions. One is to the Commissioner that the indigenous or the people that have been in government of the Zamfara state are aware of this kind of problem happening. Whenever a new government comes, there will be a principal teachers and so many from one place to another, which I think one just happened before this pandemic of teachers and principal transfer, where there was so much outcry of politically, the action was politically motivated. I'd like to hear from the Commissioner what is he doing to see that this kind of action is stopped. Have an issue.
Some static noise is interrupting. Static noise from somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, we have this Empower teachers that have been teaching us. They are exiting soon. Looking at this issue, I say let me find out contributing so much to our schools as a teachers. And now that we are becoming, they will be exiting. What is the Commissioner doing or the Ministry doing to see that these teachers that are living are to return or see that the teacher no go again? Because I think the coming up are not as much as we have. Which I think if they should all go from Shinkapi about teachers from this Empower program. So please, what the Commissioner is doing or the Ministry to see that these guys are returned or replaced, so that we shouldn't fall back again. Because I know there are secondary school, like about 6 or 5 secondary school in Shinkapi. They've been writing NECO and WAEC for 7 years, having only 6, 5, 7 teachers. The rest are Empower teachers. So please, Commissioner should take this.
Thank you so much.
For
Honourable Commissioner, those are comments for you to take notes. Not to respond, but to take notes. Yeah, we take Haja now, then be prepared to unmute Nura Kabuga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haja has been unmuted.
Okay, Haja, you're muted now.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to make 1-2 comments. There was a speaker who mentioned, maybe talked about the emergence of private schools. The emergence of private schools, I think, was as a result of the non-performance of our public schools, which we all know. And we know education is on the concurrent list. So it's not for every state to fold their arms and maybe wait for somebody to come and spearhead the function of their education, since it is on the concurrent list, on the legislative list. So why I'm saying this is because where I am, the office I occupy, I'm always faced with challenge when it comes to issues that affect Zamfara state. Like, for example, when it comes to this national common entrance. Hello?
We can hear you. You're connected.
Yeah,
we
when
can
it
hear
comes
you.
to this national common entrance, that maybe gain entries, children gain entries into federal government colleges, you find that we hardly have 20 students from Zamfara state. You can ask Hajia Obeda. Many a times, we have to liaise and start scouting for children from all sources so that they can get admission into federal government colleges. I sometimes wonder, so please, I'm just appealing to the State Ministry of Education. I'm sure very soon, NECO will kick off the common entrance for entrance into federal government colleges. And with the commissioner we have now, I'm sure he will do the needful. Please get the right children and register them for this national common entrance so that we can have at least representation in all these schools. You find that states like Lagos will have about 22,000 students, pupils registered, and you hardly get 20 students from Zamfara. And I also want to appreciate the Commissioner for Education for paying for this year's WAEC. You know, I mean, we talked on so many occasions regarding the non-payment of WAEC for 8 years, because I served on the WAEC Council. I represent the Federal Ministry of Education on the Council of WAEC. And it's a Herculean task between me and WAEC before they could agree to this, but the commissioner did what I think we needed him to do. I commend your effort for paying this year's WAEC. For that, our children will now be allowed to write WAEC, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hajia. We all are proud of our Honourable Commissioner for his being proactive.
Nura Kabuga has been muted. Yes.
Okay. Yes. I'm happy to be given the opportunity to talk. Can you hear me, please? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. You are connected.
Okay. I'm happy to be given the opportunity to talk on the issue that are related to Zamfara State. And I have one or two things that I want to talk about. One is on the issue of recruitment, which the Honourable Commissioner spoke about. And he has actually, I'm very happy to hear that the government is willing and ready to recruit more teachers in secondary school, which from all indication, it is long overdue. And one or two things I would like to say, apart from what Dr. Mika'ilu and co have said, which are very important, and the commissioner need to take those things into account, is the teachers need to be, their welfare, more incentives need to be given to them, especially those who are supposed to work in the rural area. There should be some percentages that maybe 10% increment in salary or what have you, that those working in rural areas should be given, although those who are working in places like Gusau are also facing issues of renting, but I would like to see that those who are working in rural area are given more incentives in terms of salary, and teachers should be given more incentives in relation to civil servants, because during Yarima administration, I know there is an increment of, is it 16% of salary compared to the mainstream civil servant. So the teachers should be given more incentives. And one more or two things that are actually giving, that is making private school to have more edge over public school is issue of administration. We have issue of administration. Most of our principals, headmasters need more training on the issue of administration. There is need for more monitoring, more tutoring services in these schools. And at the same time, I'm trying to also talk about WAEC. I'm happy to hear that the commissioner have actually said they have paid the WAEC issue
fees, examination fees.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. But I would like to call on the state government to please always try as much as possible to pay before time, so that the okay. And the last issue I'm going to talk about is recruitment in Zamfara State University. I would like to call on His Excellency to fast track the process of approving recruitment of lecturers in Zamfara State University, so that some of them who are probably graduate assistants or assistant lecturers can be sent to universities to because without this recruitment, we may not be able to solve the problem identified by his.
You're right. I think from the comments we got from Prof. Gusau, it is on their radar to finalize on that.
Yeah, I think they are too slow on that. They need to fast track it. They need to fast track it, and almost those who may be sent to masters or PhD need to start preparation because we are lagging behind. We need to be serious.
That is true.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kabuga, for your contributions. We have 3 more comments to take or questions. Chairman, please unmute Dr. Shams Abdullahi. Then after him, we have Dr. Sani Ahmad Sambo. Then we take one more other comment, and then we leave.
Okay. Dr. Shamsuddin Abdullahi is unmuted.
And please, Dr. Shams, will be brief. I remember that in the last session you gave us a whole lecture. Please be very brief.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Good afternoon all. I'm Dr. Abdullahi Shamsuddin. I'm connecting from National Hospital Abuja. I have 3 comments or questions. My question will go to the Honourable Commissioner and Chairman UBEC, and maybe the last one, maybe by the Prof. Muazu of the ZAMSUD. My first comment is this COVID-19 issue. As we can see, we are in lockdown, and all schools are in lockdown all over the world. In fact, some of the countries that open their schools, they have closed it immediately because of some of the children that were infected. More especially, the typical example is that of South Africa. So I don't know what the Honourable Commissioner of Education and that of UBEC, what are they going to do? Because this COVID of a thing is something that is not ending in near future, as according to the scientists. So I don't know if the Honourable Commissioner will consider the issue of this house schooling and online school. As we can see, I have seen one student that was enrolled into house schooling, and she completed her secondary school syllabus at age of 11. As we stand, last week she have received her PhD in education at age of 23. I don't know if Ministry of Education should consider this issue of house schooling and online school for our Zamfara State indigene. Then my second issue that I want to buttress is, I don't know if the host can allow me to share my screen so that I will show Honourable Commissioner some pictures.
I knew it. We were going to get a lecture from you.
So,
you can share the screen with us.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Honourable Commissioner, can you see my screen?
We cannot see the screen.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Do you need any technical assistance?
No.
I think
okay.
He has to be given permission, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Aliu, but I give him permission. I think it is.
Is it showing?
It's not showing.
So I think the host have to.
Okay, can you share now?
Yes.
Okay. Try and share. And see.
Can you see it?
Yes. Okay. Yeah,
yes.
we're seeing it.
Yes. So my question here is, Honourable Commissioner, I observed throughout the session, I can say from 1999, since the inception of this democracy, most of the schools that are usually renovated by governments are usually along the main road. If you can take from Talata, Mafara up to Safi, most of the schools along that road are well renovated. But when you go to rural areas that are far from the state capital, you can see that they are dilapidated with no teachers. This is senior secondary school in Angulbi, and in fact, it's the primary school that they converted to senior secondary school. This is the picture. This is the current picture of the school, as you can see. This is part of the block. Can you see?
Yeah.
Can you see? Yes, I'm product of this school. This is the primary school I attended. And I don't think right from 1995 that I graduated from this school, they have renovated some of the classroom there. And they converted this school to senior secondary school. As of now, it's only the principal that is staff of the State Ministry of Education. All the other ones are just volunteers from the Mafara, and they are about to exist soon. And some of them, they are just volunteers from the schools, from the town. They just come to teach our younger siblings in the school, and they are performing well from their NECO and WAEC, as I have
if you can round up, Dr. Shamsu.
Okay. Then another question is, what is government doing in revamping the technical schools education in the state? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shamsuddin. Honourable Commissioner, you will respond to this along with the chair, UBEC, after we have taken the other two questions. Please, can we return to the normal session? I don't know how to do it from here. The normal page.
Oh, okay. I think
you can exit from the screen. Yeah, great. It's up now. So we take a comment from Dr. Sani Ahmed Sambo from Udus. Then we take the last one from Suleiman Tukuru. And then please, we should be very brief.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Jalaluddeen, and all other members of Zamfara Cycle for this opportunity. What I just want to say is that by the time you ask unqualified teachers to go into the classroom to teach, you will do more harm than good to the education system and the future of the nation or the society. So what I'm saying, the Commissioner of Education has already narrated or told us the statistics of qualified teachers and the unqualified teachers in the state. What I am suggesting is that with the recruitment that is coming up later, and those that are in the system as teaching without the qualification, you can polish them to do the job. They don't need to go back to the institution to spend years for them to be able to serve. Quite all right, we know the training is very important, but we need to train those ones that we have as available resources of the state. Somebody was making suggestion that some foreign scholars can come and help. It is very difficult given the situations on ground, talking about facilities, talking about their convenience and so on. But we can use as resources to achieve what we want to achieve with the little or with the human resources that are available for us. Are you getting me?
Yes.
Okay, so that is what I am saying. The way that you cannot ask somebody to wake up early in the morning, having read biology, to go to court and be a lawyer, is the same way when you ask someone who has not been trained as a teacher to go to the classroom and teach. In fact, what he will do will be worse than what an unqualified doctor or lawyer will do. So what I am saying is that we are about to recruit teachers, or the state government is about to recruit teachers, many teachers. That interviews alone or the so-called screening test will not give you what you require to get professional teachers that will man our various primary and secondary schools in the state. So my suggestion is that as the teachers are recruited, whether they have NCA or BAA or whatever they have, ability to deliver is what matters. All these theories from Sigmund Freud, Piaget, and so on, we have been learning a lot from our textbooks. But to deliver or practicalize them or put them into concrete reality, we need proper training and retraining. And this can be done within a limited but continuous time, so to speak. You can train, let's say, 200. After 1 month, train another 200. Later on, you come back to the first 200 and revisit their performance. Secondly, the issue of actual practice in the teaching. We need to monitor the teachers. Some teachers go to the school early, they leave at the right time, but how many of them go to the classrooms to teach? How many of them write their scheme of work? How many of them write their lesson plans? All this needs to be checked.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sani Ahmed Sambo, for the wonderful comments. Yes. Now we take the last comment from Suleiman Tukur, and then we give the Honourable Commissioner and the Chair, UBEG, the opportunity to respond to some of the issues raised. Suleiman Tukur.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And remember to be brief, please. Very brief.
Possible.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You are connected.
First of all, I want to thank and appreciate the organizer of this meeting. That is Zamfara Cycle. And I want to also thank the Honourable Commissioner and all the panelists here. What I want to say here is that the Commissioner dwelt on explaining the problem infrastructure deficit in our school without giving attention to the learning, i.e. the student attitude to learning and teachers' attitudes to teaching. Also student motivation and the teachers' motivation. But however, Dr. Mika'ilu and the Professor Isate has elaborated the problems and the solution. And I want to appreciate the Commissioner for extending the invitation to these two respective scholars. But the issue is that we talk about the problem itself and the solution, but we forget about the another problem, which is funding. No matter how we want to revamp the education in Zamfara, the government cannot do it alone. We have to continue collaboration with development partners, and also Parent Teachers Association have to come in. Also, to all boys, like alumni of this school, have to come in to help their alma maters in area of building classroom, providing that with teachings aids, and so many things that all students can do. We can also co-op the Emirate Council that they should develop, they should come up with they should establish the educational trust fund. This educational trust fund should be used to help and develop education in the state. These are the contributions that I want to make. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Malam Suleiman Tukur. We really appreciate.
Hello?
And then I think we draw the question from here. Though I have been receiving some pressure from Dr. Ali Bello from the UK, I don't know if you can allow him to talk for 1 or 2 minutes, but he may do that if permitted, after taking responses from Honourable Commissioner and Chair UBEG. So who do we start with? I think let us allow the Chair UBEG to start responding. Chairman, if you can unmute Chairman UBEG. He's on the first page from my screen. User. Have you seen him?
Dr. Jalaluddeen, you can do that as well.
I cannot do that. Oh,
right? Hello?
He's unmuted now. Yeah, welcome, sir. We want you to respond to some of the questions from the participants, which I told that you must have been taking note of.
Yeah, the questions are many, but I will generally talk on most of the important ones. Yeah. But before I continue, I want to correct. I don't know who made that assertion, but there's one teacher told him he was receiving less than 10,000 in the state, and I think maybe that teacher is not a qualified teacher. Maybe it's a secondary school leaver, but all qualified teachers have been upgraded and are receiving their better salaries. Dr. Mika'ilu and other people make beneficial comments on solutions to most of the problems we have and raised here. I've already requested Dr. Mika'ilu to help me with a copy of that paper. And I will also want him to come so that we sit one-on-one together with my directors and other board members to discuss on how together we can find solutions to most of these problems. We have already started doing what we can to change the situation. The problems are enormous, and we have scarce resources to tackle them. But what we have started is we have started advocacy to ensure that all other stakeholders came on board so that together we push them first step upward. Starting from traditional institutions, that is the AMS, district heads, village heads, local government chairmen, SBMC members in our schools, religious leaders, that is religious matters. Almost everybody is a stakeholder in education, and whatever the government does, yes, we can construct classes, we can renovate ones, we can provide all other things, but without the support of all the other stakeholders, then we cannot go anywhere. Each and every one of us has a duty to play. The governor is supposed to give the protocol will, and which he did. The chairman and the board members and the management also have a duty to ensure that all the policies as far as education is concerned are adhered to and implemented. The district, the AMS, district heads and village heads are the custodians of all the facilities we have in their domains, and also the SBMCs are supposed to ensure that all the structures are protected and that all the teachers we posted to their domains reported and are also doing well. We are also trying to improve on the supervision situation, because whatever we do, if there is no perfect supervision, we'll end up doing nothing. So we are providing all the necessary materials to the Quality Assurance Department. We are also increasing the number of the SSOs we have from 120 to 240. And we are also intending to increase them to ensure that all our schools are manned by competent and qualified SSOs. We are also, in addition, going to use the expertise and experience all and retired teachers have. We are trying to form a special supervision team comprising of all the retired teachers that we know can help us in this direction. will provide the necessary logistic and what you have for them to perform, inshallah. We have so many things in place that we want to do. And we are also going to ensure training and retraining of our head teachers and teachers. And SBMCs as well, to show them how and what they should be in their schools, to ensure that our head teachers and teachers have knowledge of proper record keeping and also proper learning stuff. We are also going to ensure that we provide them with all the logistics that they have, that they want. That is motorcycles, vehicles. When I came, I improved the fleet of our vehicles, but we have enough vehicles. Though we don't have enough, but we have much that will go around to ensure
Sir,
that
if you can round up.
Well, just as I said, I have so many things to say, but these are the things we have started doing. Okay. We wanted all stakeholders to cooperate with us, and for the, I think that doctor that said we are only renovating or constructing classrooms on schools that are by the road. I stand to be corrected, and I'm telling him, and the people in Zamfara will tell you that we are constructing classes and renovating classes in all nooks and corners of the state, not only on schools that are by the road. Maybe he didn't go into the whole Zamfara state.
Okay. Thank you so much for the contribution, sir, and for the kind responses. I think that was Dr. Shamsu who made that comment. Dr. Shamsu, have you taken note of that? It's okay. Then, Chairman, do we give Ali Bello 2 minutes before the commissioner, or we just, what do we do? Okay. Dr. Ali Bello.
We can give him 1 minute. Let me.
Okay. Okay, 1 minute. Okay.
I mean, Ali is a very resourceful person.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We need his take. I can't find him. Let me try. Maybe the commissioner should go on before him.
Okay, before we fetch him.
Yes.
Honourable
Okay,
Commissioner.
I have unmuted him.
Okay, Ali. Okay, Dr. Aliyu, are you with us?
Ali Bello, he's with us. Mari.
Is he muted?
Madam Spiro can go on. He is unmuted, and Mari Kamang is offline.
Okay, maybe he has a poor connection. Okay, fine. We move to Honourable Spiro.
Has been unmuted.
Okay, yeah. You take this as your concluding remark while you respond to those issues raised.
Okay, thank you very much. I have heard most of them, and I'm going to respond to those that are more critically important here, but all of them are important as well. Yeah. Let me start with Usman Maizari about issue of foreign scholarship. The idea of sending our students to study overall, most of them are basically for science, medical, and engineering. That is to give us a breathing space before we revamp our educational sector at the higher level. That is why we have Director for Higher Education. So it's not a bad idea sending our students down to start what they cannot acquire here in Zamfara basically before we start thinking of, okay, let's send our masters, so BSc teachers to study at the masters and PhD level outside to come and teach them here. Well, that is a good suggestion, and I'm going to look at that as well. And Dr. Abdul Salam also has spoken about over-dependence on the governments and the proliferation of private schools, which is true. Everybody is depending on the government. That is why the government is heavily overwhelmed. And that is why most of the previous administration were not able to performed very well in terms of revamping education in Zamfara. But alhamdulillah, we have an administration with a governor who has passion for education and who has appropriated for the first time 20% of his total annual budget for education, whose stand has been modified by the House of Assembly to 19.8% and translated to about 35 billion naira, which is meant for both capital and recurrent expenditure, inshallah, for this year. And almost before the onset of the COVID-19 lockdown, 19% of it has already been implemented. As against the previous administration for 8 years, the highest implementation they made in 1 year was 14%. So this is a very kudos to His Excellency for giving education the desired attention it needed in terms of budgetary allocation. So the private school as well actually supposed to be fine-tuned, screened, and that has not been what was going on before my arrival. Alhamdulillah, I have directed that no any other private school should be recommended for the Ministry for Registration until we assess their current status. Those that are capable, those that have all the facilities for both learning and conducive atmosphere for other extracurricular activities, will approve them and will register them. Those that cannot, we ask them to go and merge with others so that we can have a very good, vibrant, private shift schools in Zamfara State with a very good number of subjects that can equally be found in both the public and the private school. So it will be a matter of choice for a parent where to send his or her child. That will do, inshallah.
Okay, is that all? Thank you so much, Honourable Commissioner.
Abdullahi Yusuf also have talked about. Yes.
Oh.
Yes,
I thought you have made your final comments.
No. I'm talking about those that have made those serious because I think it's Dr. Shamsu that have shared a very bad
devastating pic.
It's very depressing. In fact, that shows how education was treated in Zamfara State in the past 8 years. This administration, despite the fact that Professor Tuku, Professor Yusuf, Adamu of SUBEB say it's not about building infrastructures, but I don't want to argue with my spiritual teacher, but I believe having a very good infrastructure place could enable a conducive atmosphere of life, because I cannot understand how Dr. Shamsi is feeling in a very school that he has finished in 1995. I think that I've already graduated out of university, that is still in that condition. For all the successive administration that have been in place, they have not done anything about it. That is very unfortunate. This administration is not like that, and it's not going to operate on that basis. So I'm telling him, for the benefit of doubt, that when we are done with this emergency 23 school that have been selected, I'm very sure others will also be encompassed into the plan that the ministry have to upgrade, to renovate, and even construct more infrastructures. And let me not deviate away from what Dr. Mika'ilu says about effective teachers. It's true. Suleiman Tukuru have talked about teacher-student motivation, and it's in line with what Dr. Mika'ilu have been telling us all about. If you do not motivate your teachers, if you have not created an avenue to make them feel importance and relevance in that teaching, they will continue to live the teaching profession. And this is what we have been experiencing in Zamfara State. Alhamdulillah, in that regard, I have discussed with His Excellency, I have said it from my previous discussion, that let him create an avenue whereby we can have something like called an academic allowance, which is obtainable in the higher institution, also in our schools. Or it is probably like overtime allowances that somebody can have. And also, because Suleiman have talked about when you go to some school in the city, you find almost 200 teachers. But when you go to the outside scale of the cities, you find one teacher, one principal, or is true. I have discussed with His Excellency in that regard. I have looked at the statistics of teachers in both zones, from Gusau, Mafara, Anka, and Aura. They have been skewed in favor of the cities and the urban areas.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. I think you have highlighted these issues in the beginning Yeah.
I think it's important for the newcomers that have not had me to also hear me at this point.
No. We are going to publicize this after the event, so they will catch up.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your wonderful contributions, Honourable Commissioner, and then for the beautiful responses.
If you are quoting me, that it's not important because there is something that we have to discuss that has to do with health, presented by Dr. Shamsu, about this COVID-19 and the opening of schools. It's important you hear from me. I'm the Commissioner of Education here.
You are permitted, sir.
Thank you very much. You see, this is a world phenomenon. It is affecting everywhere in the world. Zamfara State is not an exception. So we in Zamfara, alhamdulillah, COVID-19 is a history. Even what is happening in our neighbors, alhamdulillah, we don't have that experience in Zamfara here. We are good to go as far as opening school is concerned, but we said let us follow what the federal government directives is going to be. And when we are about to open our school, I have already discussed with other commissioners of health and environment. We are going to coordinate to see that we formulate all the schools and all the protocols that have been prescribed by NCDC with these COVID-19 protocols. That is like the use of face masks, the use of sanitizers, and when the office blowers and classroom blowers must be put in adequate so that we keep our children safe and safe. That's how they should be. We're not ready to open school to have somebody die because we are ready to open school. That one will not be our case, inshallah, in Zamfara State. So Dr. Shamsuddin should be aware that we're doing everything possible to take care of the aspect of COVID-19. And his school in Angulbi will also have my attention. Inshallah, when we sit down with my planning directors, we will look at how after this 23 have been taken care of, then his own school will also be courtesy of Zamfara Cycle. And let me commend the organizers of this meeting. In fact, you see, one I have been hearing of Zamfara Cycle while I was in the university then. I never expected to have this one-on-one with them. And I never thought that there are brilliant people who could come up with this kind of concept to engage the government, to engage the government to understand what government is doing, which is not being done by the public. So I thank you, I give you kudos, and I believe Alamin, Jalaluddeen, and all the hosts of you will continue to do this, keep us on track. Never allow us to have a breathing space. Keep pushing us, but not to the limit as been said by Alamin, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the kind comments on Zamfara Cycle. And then we assure you that we are going to keep on. We'll keep you on your toes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I think we take the last comments, which is 1 minute from Dr. Aliyu Muhammad. Is he muted? Then we hand over to the chairman for.
I think Ali Bello is not around. So
no, he's around. I can see him.
Hello.
Please be very brief. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. You are connected.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Good day. A lot have been said. I do not want to go all over the issues again, but one final point I think which is important that I'll add in the end is that we've had a lot of solutions. Depends on solutions. These problems are, to be honest, overwhelming. Therefore, I think to help the commissioner and then all the stakeholders that are on the chat today, I would suggest that we create a kind of a list of priorities. What are those things that are important that you can deliver within your time in office, and then you create also a time scale that from so time to so time, this is what we need to achieve. That way, you have a structure in place to actually address the problems. Because if you just say we're going to go over the solutions randomly, believe me, you won't get to where you want to go. But create a list of priorities with time frame that these are things we want to achieve by this so time, and then make it also public so that we can follow these things up to see whether you're actually taking our ideas into implementation otherwise. So I think that will help enormously. I have a lot of them, but I think because of time, let me just stay.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Ali. We really appreciate. I think this marks the end of our session. I would like to apologize to many participants here for not allowing them to talk. I have seen more than 50 hands I couldn't invite to speak, and we needed to consider time. So for time factor, we couldn't accept comments from the remaining participants. At this point, I would also like to, I think, remind or point out to Mezere that Moderator has been here. Though questions he should respond to has been responded by the Honourable Commissioner. So that is fine. Let me hand over to, I think most supposed to, okay, he's not here. Let me hand over to the chairman, who is the host, to register his vote of thanks. Then we close with a closing prayer. Mr. Chairman, vote of thanks, then closing prayers.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jalaluddin. This was awesome, and I thank everybody from the panelists to the participants to the commentators and other contributors. The discussions have been rich, and we hope the solutions that were suggested will be implemented by the people in authority. As mentioned by the Honourable Commissioner, Zamfara Cycle is a patriotic organization, and the members are very, very much patriotic, and the only objective they have is to see a developed Zamfara state. If that means we will push you, we keep you on your toes, we hold you to your promises, we are going to do that, and we will not relent and we will not compromise. That is sure. I hope, inshallah, at the end of this, something good comes out of these discussions, and we hope for a prosperous Zamfara state in the end of the day. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah. Thank you.
So, can we invite El Kabir to give the closing prayers? El Kabir
Chairman
Mafara.
Education Committee.
Yeah, Chairman Education Committee. El Kabir Mafara.
Okay. Is he online?
He's online. I just saw him.
If he's
Malam
not,
El Kabir.
you can call Sheikh Aliubala.
Malam El Kabir.
El Kabir is not online, I think.
Okay, he has left.
Yes.
So who do you invite?
Sheikh Aliubala.
Oh, my chairman, the chief technical officer. Closing prayers. You are muted.
I'm still doing some technical issues. Please do the prayer.
Okay. It's okay. We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm muting Keshai.
Oh. Okay, Malam Zoma, closing prayers. SA New Media. Can you unmute him, Malam Zoma?
I unmuted him.
Okay, give us the closing prayers.
Okay, sallu ala Nabi al-Karim.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. All the discussions that we have just got, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it implementable and make it so that we have a very prosperous Zamfara state. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us in all our undertakings. May the blessings of Allah be upon the seal of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Let us read Surah Al-Fatiha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for attending.